open my bank account and I see minus $5,000. Everything started with PowerPoint. You're gonna have an interview with people who created Office 365.
How many rounds of interview did you have?
With Microsoft?
Yeah.
I've heard no for 11 times.
You got scammed by someone pretending that it was a real company.
I remember some men were next to my door. I remember my stress, like, guys, take napkins.
You're about to cry. Good afternoon, QA engineers.
And those who are planning to become soon.
My name is Sergey Kromchenko.
And I'm Angelina Decided.
And today I'm going to record an interview with one of our graduates who you can see right here. And she will tell us her story. How was she able to transfer from teacher career into QA engineering? And now she's already a senior QA, right?
Yes, that's right.
Awesome. So let me quickly remind you, who am I? And then we're going to get started. My name is Sergey Kromchenko. I'm a software QA engineer, lead manager, or senior engineering manager of SDOT in the past. But these days, I'm helping people like her and like you to become a QA engineer from scratch or to improve your existing skills. Now, let's get started.
Yay!
What did you do before you became a QA engineer?
So before I became a QA engineer, I used to be a teacher, and I did a lot of volunteer job in the local church, and I was teaching kids, but mostly adults.
Oh, nice. What did you teach?
Languages, German, English, and also foreign literature.
You speak German and English.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you speak Python a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, a little bit of Python. Yeah. That's the third language. And by the way, I grew up in Moldova, so I can understand some Romanian, but keep forgetting the words because I'm not using it. And of course, Russian and Ukrainian. But German, mostly reading. I'm not using it. So.
Yeah.
But also, I have a degree in teaching French. But French, I have very bad relationship with that language. Too hard. So no, Python is better.
Awesome. All right. So you said you were born in Moldova. Can you actually tell us your story before we get into QA? Where are you coming from?
So I was not born in Moldova.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was born in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved to Moldova. And in Moldova, I lived for 10 years. And then when I was at the 3rd grade, we moved to Ukraine. So I graduated from the school, university, got my degree, and then we moved to the United States. And I used to live in North Dakota. I used to live in Pennsylvania. I used to live in Chicago. I used to teach high schoolers. So I had a basketball team in my class. And I remember the first day when I...
Just FYI.
What?
No, I just like FYI. That's my real height.
Okay, Harsha, so we can cut it out.
We can live it.
Okay, guys, you're just going to see all of that mess. But anyways, I remember my first day in the high school. So I opened the door and those guys, they saw me. And the first thing that they told me was, "Hey, girl, 6th grade is next door." And I was like, "Good morning, I'm your new teacher." And they were so surprised and stressed out. So I needed 2 weeks just to become their friend so they can respect me and at least listen to me. So yeah, that was quite experience. And then I moved to Chicago. I used to work as a sales in Zara store on Michigan Street. Who is from Chicago? I love Chicago. It's my passion. I love it. And Michigan Street is my favorite. So yeah, and also I was teaching kids. I decided that kids are better than the teens. So yeah, that's quite a story.
Awesome. So you've been teacher, you've been a sales girl, you've been teaching kids and high school kids or teenagers. How did you get into, why did you decide to go to QA?
So yeah, that's actually an interesting story. And I got inspired by some of my friends. They were telling me stories about the QA engineers. And I've heard a lot of like not super serious stories. I figured that later because they were saying, hey, QA engineers, they do nothing. They just on their calls and just hanging out with friends while they're on the stand-up. And I'm like, wow, that's a cool job. I mean, let's try it. It took me like a year to make a decision to enter a boot camp. And I found one the boot camps that my friends used to have as their experience and stuff. But I actually didn't like it. I didn't like the way they taught us and, mm, you know, even talked to us because we were just new people entering new career. Like it's a new step in our life. And of course, we can ask not really smart questions. So I decided to look for something else. I decided to study by my own. I was Googling stuff. I was using YouTube a lot, and YouTube videos actually helped me a lot, and especially your channel. When I found out your channel, I was like, okay, wait, so that guy is from Ukraine. And then I figured out that I have a friend in Ukraine, and she told me, I told her about you, that I found you on YouTube and very clear information, understandable, and it helped me a lot. And she recognized you and she told me that you guys were in the same class or something back there in
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Whoa.
So yeah, and I decided to text you and ask for classes and
Yeah.
the bootcamp. So you helped me a lot. Thank you so much for that. And basically, I ended up being a QA because of my friends who actually introduced me to this sort of career and job opportunity. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's cool. So your friends told you you can become a QA engineer. That's something you got interested in, right?
Yeah. So I used to love create something like via Figma or Wix.com. I used to create different websites. And if
So
any Slavic, sorry, any Slavic guys are watching us, and remember Vkontakte. So Vkontakte used to have the wiki language to create something on the back for the groups and
Mhm.
stuff. So I used to do that. So
Oh, wow.
actually, wiki sometime ago was my first sort of language, but it was super hard. But I remember that it was interesting for me,
Mhm.
and I loved web design, and I really was thinking about going that path.
Mhm.
But then I figured that AI is coming and taking, my job probably. So that's why I figured QA might be a good decision.
Absolutely. So you are passionate about design. So you're a kind
Yes.
of creative person.
Yeah, I am. I am.
That's cool.
So that's why coding at first steps was terrible and hard, and I was crying and watching lessons again and again for 5 or 6 times. But I'm good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. So that's how you got into K. Okay, tell me about your first. Actually, let's move forward to living room.
Yeah, let's do that. Sure.
By the way, if you are interested to become a software QA engineer from scratch to improve your existing skills, or learn how to build AI from scratch or AI workflow, I'm running quite a lot of courses, and some of them are for one week where you can learn basics of it. You can learn how to answer basic interview questions and even get an internship in a US-based startup for a whole week. The links for those courses are right below this video. Great. Can you please tell us about your experience of getting a job in Microsoft? How did that happen? Because Microsoft is quite a big company.
Yes, it is such an interesting story, and I am very inspired by this all happening in my life. So I was looking for a job. It was my first job, and it took me 6 months actually to receive an offer.
Mhm.
And I had 11 interviews before the interview with Microsoft, and I had even, I don't know, the number of calls with recruiters. And I had, with each call, you get a new experience of sort of selling yourself. So you
Yeah.
need to show that, yeah, I can do that, I can do that. And you should be, proud of what you're doing and, know what to answer and what words to use. So that was quite a good experience for me. So 11 times of different interviews, and some interviews I had with 3 rounds. Some of those were 2 rounds, and I've heard no for 11 times.
Yeah.
So I got a call from a recruiter, and he told me that he saw my resume and it looks impressive. I'm like, okay, cool, fine. And he told me that, would you be able to add to your resume that you have skills in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint? And I was like, oh, wow, sure. But, what QA should sort of put PowerPoint in the resume? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, but I can do that. And actually, I told him that I love PowerPoint. As I told you, I love web design. So, of course, everything started with PowerPoint. And I remember me in the high school back in Ukraine, I was making PowerPoint presentations for my classmates, and I was selling those presentations so they can get a very nice degree. And that was my business. So I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. So I added to my resume. I sent it back to him, and he called me in a few hours and he said, hey, Microsoft would love to have an interview with you. Can you do tomorrow, 2 p.m.? And I was like, well, interview with Microsoft? Of course, yeah, why not? Another experience, I'm going to talk to people who work in Microsoft. That's so inspiring. And he told me that you're going to have an interview with people who created Office 365. They created Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, actually.
Whoa.
And they work for Microsoft for 30 years. And they would love to meet you in person. And I was like, wow, yes, let's do that. Actually, I was not thinking about hiring me. Like, I thought it's unbelievable, but it's a good chance to talk to people like that. So I was like, sure, let's do that. And next day, I had an interview with them, and the interview was 35 minutes long. And for 25 minutes, for sure, I remember that like today, I was just saying how cool they are because I saw their Office 365 app. It was refreshed and modern because it used to be pretty old for a lot of years. So I told them, oh, you have new presentations, you have new that. And they were like, oh, you saw that? Oh, you noticed that? And I was like, yes, of course. And I love that and that part and that part. And they were like, oh, okay. And tell us how you can do that, They asked me about Visual Studio Code, if I can use that. And I told them yes, because I knew some basics and I knew how to write code to open the application and stuff. And I told them that, and that took me like 5 minutes. And they asked me about my availability, like about the time, because they asked that I'm going to work for Seattle and I'm in Charlotte. So my work day would start at 11 a.m. And I was like, that's perfect because I have kids, so I can take care of those. So we just had a friendly chat, you know. We just talked a little bit about QA. And I was just so inspired by people that I had a chance to talk to. And I just say thank you. It was so nice to meet you. I really love to talk to you. Thank you guys for, taking your time and talk to me. It was such a pleasure. After a call, I sent a thank you email to the recruiter. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. I sent email to the manager, the one that I talked to during the interview. I also sent a note, like an email to them, and I said thank you. I said that was an honor for me to talk with you guys. And it's really what I felt, my true feelings. So I sent those emails, and then I took care of my kids. We were playing, and I heard my phone was ringing, and that was Microsoft Recruiter. I was like, oh, he probably would say like, Angelina, thank you so much for trying, but sorry, not today. And he told me that, Angelina, Microsoft would be very honored if you would say yes to this job opportunity. And I was like, let me think a minute. But jumping in the room like crazy, I was so happy. I didn't actually believe that happened. And this is Microsoft. Me looking for a job for 6 months, like I'm no one, And then there's Microsoft hiring me. Yes, of course, I was so happy. And it was such an honor for me to work with them. Those people are amazing and kind and very nice. And that was a very good experience for me to work in such a, culture, spirit, team. and the relationship that they have between each other is just an example for me.
That's a great point, because every one of us have something unique. It's our identity, it's our authenticity, it's who we are. And
Yeah.
you've been great with the PowerPoint. You're a great communicator. And you said, who am I? I'm no one, but
Yeah.
you're quite someone, and they were looking specifically for that kind of person. And that's the problem that a lot of people have. They underestimate themselves. And whenever they go for an interview, they don't feel confident. And that's the thing, that's the one of the most important ingredients of getting a job offer is
Yeah.
confidence. Just, hey guys, I'm who I am. Here
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
Let's get to know each other.
Yeah, that's right. They asked me a question. I remember that for sure. They asked me.
And by the way, some of our subscribers did ask me to help them to improve their English, as the majority of us were not born in the US or in English-speaking countries. So especially for you guys, I did open up a new YouTube channel called Sergi Speaks. And you can find a link for it right below this video. Let's continue.
They asked me, what is your proficiency with PowerPoint? I told them, I'm a professional, guys. I told them about the way I was doing business in my school, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff. They really like that. And I told them that I know every single button in the PowerPoint. I really love that. So that was the main reason for them, I think, to hire me. And probably I can say of myself, I am the first engineer who set up the test cases for Office 365. Imagine, I mean, I love Microsoft, they're awesome, but they were so, you know, chilling out, you know, just chilling, that they didn't have test cases. So I was the one who created test cases for them. And I wrote code, lots of code, using Python and Visual Studio Code to test Office 365. So I'm the one who did that for them. And I work specifically with Copilot and Office 365, and we were preparing Copilot for the public. So I'm very glad that I was a part of this, such a big, you know, modern IT feature. So
Exactly.
that's cool.
That's awesome. All right. Can you give us a little more details about actual interview? What types of questions how many rounds of interview did you have?
With Microsoft?
Yeah.
Just
Just two?
45 minutes. No.
So
it was
recruiter
just-
call and then 45 minutes.
Yeah, just a recruiter call. He asked me to add PowerPoint and Word and Excel to my resume. I said, yes, of course, I can do that. I added that, sent it back, and then we had an interview just for 45 minutes or something, even less. And then after 2 hours, they just gave me a call and they
That's
job
the
offer.
shortest interview ever.
And that's Microsoft.
Exactly.
You know, so
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. You also told me about you had scamming experience in
Yeah.
your lives. You got scammed
Yeah.
by someone pretending that it was a real company. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, so guys, take napkins.
You're about to cry.
Yeah, get some water, tea, whatever you like to drink, because that's a sad story, but happy end. I landed in Microsoft anyway, so you know the good point. But yeah, that was a terrible time of my life. So as you know, I'm from Ukraine, and I was staying here in the United States with my 2 kids. I have 2 daughters, and my husband was volunteering and living that time in Ukraine during the war. He was visiting us here in US, but he was going back as he had business there, and he was volunteering and helping Pratula with all of the delivery stuff. So I was here taking care of my kids, studying at boot camp, getting new career, and I was already applying, you know, because I've heard that you need to start early, practice, you know, get it faster. So I was trying to do everything, was doing my best. And so I got interview invitation, and they told me that it's going to be first round is going to be pretty simple. So they sent me a Word file. That's the first sign. They sent me the Word file with questions, and they asked me to answer those questions and send it back. They said there are no right answers, just tell us what you think, and you know, it's very easy. Of course, I checked the website, you know, like, of course. I checked what, you know, the emails, I checked the LinkedIn profiles, you know, and they had it all. And the second round was a video interview. Like I
Mhm.
even had a video interview with them, and they gave me a job offer, $45 per hour, and I was like, okay, that's fine, that's good, that's great for me as a beginner,
Yeah.
and of course, why not? And I was so happy. And then they told me that they gonna equip me with everything I need for a job, like a computer, desk, a chair. And I have friends here in Charlotte who had that, like real companies, and they provided table, chair, and computer for them, everything that they need. I've heard about that. I know people like that. So I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. So I'm going to have the same thing. And so, of course, when you sign the contract, you send your information, green card, driving license, your address, your routing number, account number. So they have everything about me. Like they
Yeah.
know all my information. And they sent me a few checks.
Mhm.
That's the really tricky thing here. That might sound stupid for you, and you might think, hey, how would you just, play that game with them? Like, how would you not think about it? But no, guys, no, the war is happening, and me here, stressful situation. I was looking for a job already for, I think, 4 months, and having different interviews and the job offer here. And I'm like, yay, yay, cool, and all emotional stuff. But yeah, I was not able to figure out it's a scam. So one morning, oh, by the way, the equipment was not coming. Delivery is late, late, late. I was like, something is happening. And I told my husband, hey, I feel like it's not real. Something is going on, And I decided to check my bank account in the morning, and I opened my bank account and I see minus $5,000. Like minus five, it means that I had something else on my account.
Yeah.
I had a pretty big amount of money for a rent because we were renting that time.
Mhm.
And can you imagine, like I had amount for a year to
Yeah.
rent a house. And then I have mine in 5,000, and I I was so stressed out and hopeless. I went to the bank. Of course, they said that no, sorry, money already gone. Those people were from Spain, and even though bank recognized the checks,
Yeah.
they took their money back because it's not our problem. Sorry, but
Yeah.
So I lost a lot of money. I got panic attacks for 2 weeks. I was afraid that they're gonna come to my house. They know everything about me. They have my address. And I remember next day after that, when I figured everything about that, I even talked to police, and police told me, oh, sorry, money already are cashing,
Yeah.
somewhere in Europe. So we are not able to help you out. FBI is not gonna help you. So just we're sorry. And I was like, okay. And next day, I remember some men were next to my door. I remember my stress. Like, my two girls are home. We're home alone. Like in that moment, then we have some people, like men standing. I figured those were just men looking for something, but like everything was emotional for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was trying to calm down. My husband was super supportive that time, and a lot of my friends helped me a lot. Shout out to the friends, like they were so supportive. Like my husband is the best husband, like especially for me. Sorry if you have husbands and they're best for you, but yeah, this is my, like he's the best. The way he supported me and my friends, just imagine they knock on the door and they bring 10 bags with the food,
Whoa.
and they just fill up my fridge with the food. And then my other friends, they knock on the door and they give me the envelope with $2,000. And they're like, we know you need to pay your rent on Friday, so you need this.
Whoa.
And,
Friends.
yeah, that was so impressive and supportive. So yeah, having good friends in your life, it's a very good point. But I was upset. I didn't want to look for a job. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I had a lot of interviews, no, all the time. I'm working hard, I'm learning, and then this happened. Oh God, maybe that's a sign that I don't need to, go there and start that. But then a few days later, so it took me 2 weeks to cry about that a bit, I mean, yeah. But then I was like, no, guys, I'm not the one that you can broken. No, 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 no. I'm gonna start, keep going, looking for a job, applying, easy applying. That button is my best friend. So, I was doing that thing every single day, applying for more than 50 jobs, And yeah, and one day I got the call from a recruiter from Microsoft. So
Yay, we got to it. Those people who helped you out, your friends, are those friends from your church?
yes, those friends are from my church. We have a very big church community here in Charlotte. And I remember a very interesting, actually, that is very interesting part of my life is that I am a president of a women's ministry in our Ukrainian Association of Baptist Churches in the United States. And I was a part of women's ministry back in Ukraine, so I had a big experience of doing that. And here in our local church in Charlotte, I was also starting doing some women's ministry. We had Bible study groups and stuff like that. And I remember when our pastor, he was talking to me like, Angelina, we feel like it's your place and you should take care of our women here in church. Like, we want to give you this position. And I'm like, maybe not today, maybe in a few months, But I remember the Sunday when pastor introduced me to the church that I am a new women's ministry leader in our local church. And it was Sunday. And then on Tuesday, I got the job offer.
Whoa.
And for me, it was like I said yes to my calling, and God really blessed me with a good job. And, me with no experience landing in Microsoft, I mean, that was a miracle for me.
Amen.
Good job, man. Yeah, cool.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Great. Now let's move forward to your next job, to your latest job. Tell us about the interview process. How many rounds of interview did you have?
So I had 2 rounds of interview. So I started looking for a job while I already was finishing my work in Microsoft. So I had a contract with Microsoft. They renewed it for a few months, but they told every one of us who were working as a contract that your contract is going to come to the end. So we knew about that. That was not a surprise for us. We knew we were there for just some period of time. So I started applying, and I was applying for a month. And then I got a call from the company where I work right now, from the CEO of Technologies. He called me and said, hey, I saw your resume and it's pretty much impressive and we love your skills. Are you able for a call tomorrow? Again, tomorrow. I'm like, again, tomorrow. Wait, what's tomorrow? And then I was checking, yeah, of course. Yeah, let's do that. But by the way, I had a very good cover letter, like with the explanation how good I am as engineer from my manager in Microsoft.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yes. So he told me, Angelina, we're going to give you a very good letter. And yeah, so you can send it out with your resumes. And so I did that. Of course, I did that because I was super proud of that. And I had a first call with my current job. I was interviewed by my CEO and my manager. And they were just cool guys, your age, and we were talking about automation. We were talking about manual because in their company we're doing mostly manual, and we're doing a lot of manual right now. Even guys, manual still exists. Okay, so yeah, they asked me questions about my daily life in Microsoft, what I did there, what I have achieved, what I'm proud of, and I had what to tell.
Sorry for interruption. Which round of interview was it?
First, yes, first round. Yeah, they were asking me how many groomings we had, stand-ups, and stuff like that. Just basic questions.
Yeah.
It was not hard at all.
Was it with HR or with the actual?
No. It was actual CEO and actual manager.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So just me, and we were just talking to them like me and you right now.
Yeah.
And I was super easygoing, and I saw they're sort of my age, and I was like, oh, that's cool, like we can talk. And so I explained them my daily life, and I had the experience already. And after, it was like for a 40 minutes call. And then I received an email next morning from them that they like me, so they are asking if I'm available in a week to have another round of interview with the dev and QA. So I was like, cool, yeah, let's do that.
It's kind of interesting because usually it's the other way around.
Mhm.
First, you talk to QAs and possibly devs, and at the end, you talk to CEO or CDO.
Yeah, right.
But
Well, the company where I work right now is the best company ever. We do everything vice versa, so it's all good. I mean, every company is different
yeah,
and it's beautiful, whatever. It's been a week, and then I had another round of the interview. It was a second interview with the QA and the developer. Very sweet and kind guys from Bolivia. They asked me questions about what is test case, how to write a test case, what is grooming, what is stand up, what is my weakness,
hmm
all of those standard questions. And they also asked me about the automation. They didn't know much about the automation because the girl who was a QA, she was asking mostly about manual. And of course, I knew all of that. So I answered easily everything that I learned from you, and in my previous experience. So that was pretty much easy. They asked me about my job in Microsoft. I told them that yes, I was coding for them and coding with Python and Visual Studio Code. And yeah, so we just had a talk with them. And in a few days, yes, I think it took them 4 days to let me know what's going to be next.
hmm
And I remember I was like, what was that? It was a dinner time. Yeah, there was a dinner time, and we were having a dinner with my family. And I was just sharing, oh, like, why are you taking them so long to give me the answer? And I remember it was 8 p.m. Like, who sent an email at 8 p.m.? Like, this is very late.
yeah,
And when you're looking for a job and opening an email, it's just your, daily thing. You're just doing that like all the time. And I just randomly opened my email and I saw an email from the CEO with a job offer.
yeah.
And 8 p.m., like straight at 8 p.m. I'm like, oh, that guy works really late. He does. He is a hard worker. Yes, till now. And yeah, there was a pretty good job offer, $50 per hour.
Nice.
And yeah, of course I said yes. It is hybrid role. So 2 days a week, I drive to downtown Charlotte. I love that. I enjoy downtown. I'm a downtown girl. I love our office. Our office is the best. Is Camp North End area here in Charlotte. Super cool if you guys know. We have different cool places to go for lunch and stuff. And my team is pretty much easygoing and very nice people and nice individuals. And we're growing. We just hired 2 developers and another manager for a separate project we're working on. And a few months ago, my CEO of technologies just mentioned, oh, this is Angelina, our senior QA engineer. And I was like, senior? Yes. So that's it. That easy.
Yeah, so now you are.
Yeah, I am.
That's awesome. Congrats with that. And all right, so that's how you got your latest position. And can you actually recommend anything to those who are looking at you right now, right there, and thinking like, so she made it. The girl who was a teacher,
Yeah.
the girl who did some sales, she was all over the Eastern Europe. She's not even from the United States, but she made it somehow. Can I make it too? What do you recommend to them?
Of course you can. Everything is doable if you have a goal and you know what you want to achieve. There are some bumps, and first bump for me was automation because as I told you, I love visual and I'm very taking care of little details, and that would help me actually to figure all of that out. But yeah, there are going to be some bumps, but it's like in every other job. No job is easy. Doctor is hard, cleaning is hard, everything is hard. It's just your decision. So if you decided to change your life, to change your career. So just respect yourself and achieve your goal. And, I remember I was 28 that time with 2 kids, and it was very hard for me to let my kids know that, okay, mommy's studying, so you need to go to bed. And we had rules in our family that at 8:30 everybody are sleeping. There's silence in the house. So because I have a lesson at 9 p.m. So I was studying for 6 months until 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. sometimes, or 1 a.m. every single day, except weekends, Sunday, probably only. But yeah, I was also studying on Saturdays because I knew that I need to change something in my life. Teaching is not going to help me here in the United States and our family. And, I'm just that type of person that I'm not going to just sit at home and be a housewife. I really think I'm a good mom. I really think I'm a good wife. And my husband loves that I am getting smarter and smarter in achieving my goals. And he's proud of me. And I'm that type of person. We're balancing everything in our life. And guys, if 20-year-old girl from Ukraine with 2 kids by herself and renting a house, losing money, all of that stuff, was able to land a job and figure all of that, so why not you? I mean, I don't understand why. Of course you can do it.
Leave a comment below and tell us why not right now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the interview and for your time, Angelina. As always, pleasure seeing you. And hopefully next time I'm going to fly to Charlotte, North Carolina to record an interview with you as the QA manager or director of QA.
Okay, that would be great.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, challenge accepted. That's right.
Alrighty, have a good one.
Thank you so much.